Hello everyone and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, and today we're doing something special for you. This is being recorded live on Twitch during our 20,000 subscriber streamabration. As we do this, we are going to be doing a Series 4 and 5 tier list. With Snap Packs coming out, all your keys will become 3,000 tokens each, which means you will have the opportunity to buy some of the best cards in Snap. Let's go through and try and talk about each card and what you can do with it. This is going to be a long one, so buckle up. I'll also be reacting to chat throughout this, so if you hear that, I will do my very best in order to make sure I let you know what's happening in chat. Our first card is going to be Agamotto. Before we get there, thank you for the sub, Powderfinger. We are up to, I believe, we're up to, 15 or so subs today. Really great start to the streamabration, because we're going to be going for quite a long time. The first card to talk about here today is Agamotto, last month's season pass card. This card is good, but has fundamentally disappeared from the meta. I'm not 1,000% sure it's as, like, its play rate right now would have it like in the C tier, but I don't think that's actually accurate. We also have an Untapped tab open so that we can check out Untapped and make sure that we're, like, not, like, if things are close, if things are challenged. But right now, I think Agamotto is going to end up in the B tier. It's a very good card, if not the extremely overpowered great card it seemed when it first came out. I think a big part of Agamotto's power is that it directed your attention to the wrong card. A lot of people were immediately like, Winds of Watoomb is this broken, insanely powerful thing, right? Winds of Watoomb is so strong, it's so powerful. Winds of Watoomb ended up being the third best spell after the Bolts of Balthak and the Images of Icon. Both of those spells being absolutely top-notch led to Agamotto having a real place in the meta for a little while when Galacta and Gwenpool were enough power. Since then, other cards have been buffed, other things have happened, like Thanos' Rise, that have sort of pushed that down, making Agamotto's power less oppressive, and I think B is about right. Speaking of B tier former season pass cards, we have Agent Venom. I do believe Agent Venom is going to be a B tier card. We're going to try and put them in order in their tier, but it's not like super strict here. So Agent Venom is really good, especially in the Thena Havoc deck. He's a required card for that list. That list remains a really powerful list. Basically, if Shadow King's not all over the meta, like everywhere, that deck is going to be a meta deck. I do think that he's starting to find more homes as Captain Carter's buff has made Iron Man and Mystique combos better. We have a top 5 version of that we'll share with you soon. We haven't shared it yet by the time this goes live. I played that on stream a little bit. That feels really strong as well. I do think Agent Venom's 5 power puts it a little ahead of Agamotto, largely because it goes in what right now I would consider to be a fairly strongly better deck. From there we go Agony. I think Agony's C. Agony D. We're going to be a little harsher on cards to try and get some separation. I don't think Agony's a bad card necessarily, but it's a card that you don't ever really need. You don't really need to own. It's fine. It is what like the epitome of a fine card is. I'm perfectly happy to have it. I'm perfectly happy to own it. It occasionally goes in decks, but I'm always like, what is the last card I could add to this? What do I want to do with it? As we have a message on Discord that I can't see right now. I'll check that on my phone. All right, from there we have Ajax. We are on to Ajax, who is a deck alt himself. I'm going to start with Ajax in A tier. It's absolutely possible. Like, it is sincerely possible that Ajax belongs in S tier. He's about as high as an A can get for me right now. I think that he's really strong. I think he's really consistent. But I think his decks are a slight bit below the top, and because he's so easy to counter, like genuinely ridiculously easy to counter, I think that he ends up at A for now. Like almost every tech card in the game counters him. If using like Ajax to buff him, Shadow King counters him. Sorry, not Ajax. Laufey to buff him, then even Shadow King counters him. He's just eminently counterable, but he is very good. I think he's an A. Alioth is a B, and I know this is going to be controversial, but I think he's the lowest we've talked about so far. He's fine in some versions of Thanos. He's not required, he's not important, he's fine in some versions of Thanos. The game of Marvel Snap is about putting power out early right now. It's about developing a board early. There's not a lot that Alioth really stops on 3s, and the decks that run him right now, the decks that want him, aren't the best at getting priority. I'm a little lower on Alioth than I would generally be. Annihilus is going into C. I think Annihilus is significantly better than he has been, but Thanos being everywhere really does hurt this card. If Thanos is really prominent, Annihilus will have a hard time because there's just not board space for his ability. If there's not really great board space for his ability, you're playing a 5/7. 5/7 is fine, but it's nothing to like really speak to. I think Annihilus has seen better days, even if it is still a good card. Wow, this is aggressive music that the YouTubers can't hear. All right. So Anti-Venom is now a B card. He was S tier the last couple times we did this, but he only has really left as a home the Ajax decks. He's been kicked from ongoing because they release so many good ongoing cards. He's been kicked from like half the meta. I think he's down to a B. He was so great for so long. He was in a lot of Affliction decks where like he's still in them, but like not even every version of that. I think he's a B. He's actually maybe even like pushing on C. Alioth and Anti-Venom are both right now lower B tier cards. Aranya, ooh, that's Copycat, excuse me. Let's grab the right card. All right, next up we have Aranya. Aranya's a B. It's just a good card, right? Like, it's not amazing, it's not broken, but it's a good card. It goes in every move deck. You can get that this week from bundles. It's really, really great. It's like, okay, so Aranya is nice for the move decks. She's great for the move decks. She's even required for the move decks, but she's not Madam Web, right? She's just a tier below, and she doesn't really have any other home now. She was starting to find some other homes doing some Brood stuff, and those are just kind of gone. She's actually pretty good in the Red Wing stuff. Copycat is A. We are in a very Copycat meta right now. Copycat metas are metas that are doing really, really good stuff, playing really good cards. You get a Copycat that's a Killmonger, you're thrilled. You get a Copycat that is a Brood, you're in heaven. You get a Copycat that just draws you a card that's a Soul Stone, you're pretty damn happy. This is a very, very good Copycat meta, and I think that right now she is either the best or the second best of the 3-cost cards. Oh, someone in chat, Shelter, says, I miss the old Copycat. Copycat is not significantly worse than she ever was. The steal from the bottom card was only nice if they shuffled their deck, and there's very few abilities in Marvel Snap that actually shuffle the deck. You can be relatively certain by playing Copycat that that's a card they're not going to have. Pay attention for deck shuffles, but you should otherwise be fine. Ares is yet another B tier card. I might be moving Alioth and Anti-Venom down to C. But Ares is another B tier card. It's really, really good in one very specific deck, and it doesn't really see any play otherwise. If you were looking to play the Sauron deck, you do need Ares, but outside of that, meh. So what we're seeing in B tier right now is stuff you need for one specific deck, right? Agent Venom is largely for one specific deck. The the Havoc and Athena deck. Agamotto is largely for one deck, the Season Passler. Aranya is largely for one deck, the Move. Ares is largely for one deck, the Sauron deck, and he's replaceable in it, thus him being a little lower, even though he's very strong. Alioth is semi-needed. Alioth has to go below, because it's not really needed for anything. Anti-Venom is needed for one version of discard, which is very good. Ajax is in fact also one deck, but Ajax is both a requirement and it's actually like 3 decks. Ajax goes in not only regular Affliction, I'm running Anti-Venom and whatchamacallit, it goes in the High Evolutionary Affliction, and it goes in the Scream Affliction. I might be counting wrong, but that seems like 3 decks. Arishem, I can't justify. Can I justify putting Arishem in S tier? I'm going to keep Arishem. No. I'm going to keep Arishem at the top of A for now. I don't think I could put Arishem in S tier anymore. He just doesn't feel nearly as strong whenever I play him, and he doesn't feel nearly as scary whenever I play against him. I think we finally increased the power of the game to the point where Arishem is very good, but not necessarily S. I can see bumping him up as we get more cards, but for the time being, All right. Next up, we have Baron Zemo, and I think Baron Zemo's a D. Mill doesn't exist, and Baron Zemo doesn't go anywhere else. I'm not sure what the hell to do with this card. It's just, like, kind of junk. It might even be lower than D. Look, Mill is a deck. It's just not a good deck, so we're going to stick this in D. Beta Ray Bill is all the way up to B. We have a really great Beta Ray Bill deck that will be in Sunday's video, plus the Thor's deck still performs. I think Beta Ray Bill is at his all-time peak in terms of power. Shelter notes that Baron Zemo is good for voltage. Yeah, I'm not doing a voltage trail. I'm doing for main game modes, though. So Beta Ray Bill ends up being a B because he has this really great bounce deck. Yes, a Beta Ray bounce deck that is in, as of this recording, Sunday's video. And it's in that Firehair deck that's really fun, and it's got that control deck that Emma shared that's still really good. I think Beta Ray Bill is actually probably better than... It's not as prominent as Ares. Its deck isn't as prominent as Ares, but it's better than Ares. I think that they're very close. Beta Ray Bill above Anti-Venom is not something I ever would have foreseen. Black Swan's in C. I just don't know what to do with her right now. The best bounce decks in the game aren't running her. The best bounce decks in the game are straight up Buff Captain America. You can see the bounce deck when we're done recording this. So next up, we've got Black Swan. Black Swan is not in any of the best bounce decks right now. I've got three really great bounce decks, three bounce decks that I think are tier 1 decks right now, or at least close enough to tier 1 decks. Tier 1 deck to me, if you've ever seen the Friday video where I tier the top 10 decks in Marvel Snap, is anything in S or A tier, I consider a tier 1 deck. Something that you can play, something that you can have a lot of success with, but not not just like the very greatest of things, right? Like there's usually like 2 S tier decks. That's not tier 1 for me. Tier 1 is like that and the tier below, which is like everything that I think is just like I could conceivably see bringing to a tournament and doing really well. So she is in Dracula Dump sometimes. She's got some homes. I don't know. I think I'm comfortable with the C. She can end up lower as we go. Blink is the best card we've talked about, I think. As far as like, okay, sorry. I guess it's not the best card we've talked about, right? I think Blink is an A tier card. The logic here is that Good Machine decks and Hella decks both exist, and neither exists without Blink. 2 top tier decks that absolutely require you, I think is enough for an A tier for Blink. Blink is like ridiculously underrated right now. Blob, How the Mighty Have Fallen. Blob is F. Even the decks that want Blob don't want Blob. He doesn't go in anything. He doesn't exist. He doesn't matter. Blob is garbage. Speaking of garbage, we've got Bruce Banner, who's, I think, like around the same ability as Blob right now. He's a nothing card. Like, they buffed him, and he still doesn't matter. Him keeping or losing the benefits really actually pulled him out of some decks, because now I can't even like sometimes justify playing him in like the Havoc deck, right? Because if I make him 3 power, now my Hulk's going to be 3 power. So I think he is just a non-existent card right now. Yeah, Blob went from S. When Blob released, he was an S, right? He's just an F right now. Bullseye is, right now, for me, the very top of B. I believe he was A last time we did this. His deck is on the downturn. Again, I genuinely believe just the general power level of Marvel Snap has crept up. So that deck that was so dominant and so prominent just doesn't have the win rate and ability to like work in the same way it did. Bullseye is a great card. I can see moving it up to A, but I think right now it's top of B. Buff Captain America knows that maybe he should be A because his deck doesn't exist without him. That's fair, but neither does Agent Venom's deck, right? Like Agent Venom's deck doesn't exist without him either. So like I'm not really comfortable moving Agent Venom up. I'm fine with Bullseye and B, and we'll see how this develops. More F tier cards. Kara is one of the worst cards in Marvel Snap in my opinion. Fundamentally, so I don't mind Kara to protect 6s. If you're running Kara to protect 1s, you should probably just play a different deck. If Killmonger is so prominent and so relevant in the meta that you need Kara, you are better off playing another deck, because there are like 5 other things that deck needs to do on turn 3. If, however, you're playing a bunch of 6s early, which is really just the high Evo She-Hulk deck, I can see Kara having some use, but that's the same deck Bruce goes in, and that deck is utter crap. So I'm going to go with an F here. They cannot revert Blob to how it was originally. It's just too much of a lane winner. I'm going to get yelled at for this, but I truly believe Cannonball is an S tier card. Like, it's in Scream, and it is the absolute, like, you have to play around it so much in Scream. It is the reason that Clog exists. Could you imagine playing a Clog deck if you didn't have Cannonball right now? You would just have to play a different deck. There's no way to play it. Clog, we're a week away because Strange Supreme came out, from Clog being one of the like 4 to 5 best decks in the game. I think Cannonball is an S. It's just so strong. It's a lane winner. And now, I know it's still showing her as a 4-3. Sorry. Captain Carter is an S tier card right now. People are going to argue. I know that some people might disagree. I think that this card has a real case for being the best card in the game because of Surfer and because of Moonstone. Because it goes so well with both of those. Oh, Cannonball even in Kitty's decks. No, it's Toxic Tolkien. Yeah. Look, you can splash Cannonball into decks. There's no reason it can't just go in good decks. Especially in a Thanos meta. Where, like, even if you're just blowing up like a Goliath in a lane, that can be a win. Turning that into a rock. Now, I think Captain Carter is a very, very easy S. Very, very easy S. I just don't think there's anything to really argue. Captain America, Spectrum, Moonstone, Surfer, Forge. In every deck, she's got like 2 or 3 ways to make her crazy, crazy strong. I think Captain Carter is one of the best cards in the game. She's counterable. She can still be clunky sometimes. When you counter her, she loses. She puts things into Shang-Chi range. All of that's true. And I still think the sheer amount of power she goes to. She was not F ranked before. She was about a C rank before. But right now, I think she's absolutely phenomenal. Cassandra Nova is an A tier right now. Cassandra Nova into Thanos is insanely good. Like, insanely good. It's just like a 3-9 that makes your opponent's deck weaker, that makes all the stones crap. Obi Haved has joined. Welcome, Obi. So, I think this is about as good as Cassandra Nova has been since her heyday. Since, like, the heyday of Arishem, Cassandra Nova is in heaven right now. You should be putting her in thing. I think she is the best free card they've ever given us. And I don't think it's especially close. Corvus has to go near the top of B, right? Just for the Hela deck. But because it's just the Hela deck, I don't think I can put him in A. He's in a lot of Apocalypse decks now too. Is Corvus an A tier card? I don't think I mentally had processed that, but I think Corvus is an A tier card now, right next to Cassandra Nova. Both the Hela decks and the Apocalypse decks are running Corvus right now. That extra energy is irreplaceable right now. There's nothing else that does what he does. I don't know what else to say. That deck is really good, and Corvus absolutely rocks in it. So that's what we're going to go with it. It's great for anything that runs Khonshu. It's a must-own, must-have card right now. Cull Obsidian is C. It doesn't super exist. It's probably better than Black Swan, but not better than Nihilus. I don't really care about arguing within tiers as a general rule, but
John_Edwards32 just followed.
Cull Obsidian is fine, right? Like, it's a good power card. They really, really hit it hard when they hit Carter, and now it doesn't go in the decks that you would want to go in. Dakin is a lovely B tier card. One deck. That one deck is on a downturn, but that is a very good deck. I'm comfortable putting it above Aranya. Probably right around Agamotto. A little behind Agamotto right now. In that general vicinity. I'm not sure how to nerf Carter yet. I don't really want to analyze that just yet. I think it's been 3 days and let's give it some time to develop. But I do think she will end up nerfed at some point. Dakin, I think, is a high-ish B. He's very good in the Bullseye deck, and outside of that, you should never ever play him. There's a Surfer version of the Bullseye deck that's also fine. Darkhawk is a B tier card. You know what we're doing? Anti-Venom and Alioth are going down to C. Good cards that just don't really have great meta homes right now are C tier cards right now. Anti-Venom might go up to B. I think Alioth is pretty concretely a C. Darkhawk is a B tier card. Darkhawk is in one of the current versions of Bounce that's really good. I love Anti-Venom, one of my absolute favorite cards in Marvel Snap. But he just doesn't have a home right now. They nerf anything that's good is a ridiculous statement, Ligs. Remind me how Cannonball, Ajax, Blink, and Corvus and Copycat are nerfed. Like, all those cards are fine. So Darkhawk is great. It's still a meta card. It's just toward the bottom of the meta. Thanos really gives this card new life. Every time Thanos and Alioth get good, this card gets some new life. Diamondback. I think I'm comfortable at the top of C. So the problem Diamondback and Ajax have is there's like 18 really, really, really good Affliction cards, and you can only run 12 in a deck, so they're always just super, super replaceable. My entire logic for this is that, like, there are just, again, a million really good Affliction cards, right? And outside of Ajax, aren't they all just kind of replaceable? Like, if I don't have Man-Thing, I can run Laufey. If I don't have Anti-Venom, I can run the High Evo version. If I don't have Diamondback, I can run Cassandra Nova. Like, they're all just so replaceable that I think it pushes them all down a tier as good as they are. I think Anti-Venom is probably going to end up going back up to B just because it does have the extra uses of being powerful with Luke and other shells. But, Doom 2099, How the Mighty Have Fallen, that's a D tier card. They need to do something with this card. I'll actually probably try to say something internally relatively soon. But I very wish that Doom would... Yeah, Space Core isn't very good right now, Space. So, Doom is a D tier card. I don't think it's F. It's not terrible, but it's not very good. C tier cards are good, just for the record. None of the cards in C tier are what I would consider to be bad cards at all. The cards in D tier are the cards that I think are actually bad cards right now. C is good, just not as good as B. From here, we go to Elsa. Elsa is at the very bottom of B. She's got a few decks. She's pretty good in various cook stuff, right? She's top of C. B is just pushing it. She's not as good as Anti-Venom. I can't push Elsa higher than that. I want to, but I can't. Hulkling is in D. You saw a little bit. Hey, Obier, thank you for the sub. I believe we're at 14 or 15 right now, but hopefully someone's keeping track for me. So, I don't know. Hulkling, I like Hulkling. He's just not great. Speaking of, I guess it's C, right? It's got a home in Arishem. Isan survives off Arishem's back and thus ends up in C tier. But like even then, you don't need it for anything. It's just a fine card. I don't think it especially matters. Fenris. His new home in Surfer is going to push him back to B. He's in one of the top tier Surfer lists, so that'll push him up to B. The end of Mill really hurt him. Like really hurt him. But his Surfer is just enough for him to hang on to the B tier for now. Outside of that, meh. Firehair is yet another C tier card. We were all incredibly wrong about her, including me. I think she's fine. She's really fun. There's still not a single meta deck with her. Not one. She's good, but she's just not meta. I like Firehair. I like her decks, but what am I supposed to really be doing with her? Maybe she gets better when the new cards come out next month and she makes it higher, but for now, nope. Frigg is still chilling in S tier. She's still completely irreplaceable in move bounce. There's still Victoria Hand stuff floating around. There's now she's now in some ongoing shenanigan decks. I think the card is really great. I don't know what to say. Frigga is really great and irreplaceable. I actually have her above Cannonball. Not above Carter, but above Cannonball. Galacta remains in S tier, and she's going to be the second S tier card. Second, she's better than Frigga, not quite as good as Agent Carter. There is no 4-drop in the game that does what Galacta does. I will be very surprised if any other 4-drop even makes A tier, let alone S tier. She is so far and away the best of them. Galactus is somewhere around along the bottom of C. He's pushing on a D. It's not his meta right now, but he is decent every so often. Gilgamesh ends up in B. Again, we're looking toward the bottom of B. Zoo is good. You can run a we put that together on the podcast, and that deck did really fine for me, where we built a Gilgamesh Strain Supreme Zoo deck, and that worked completely fine. So I don't hate Gilgamesh in any way, shape, or form. I think it's totally fine. Move Bounce is an A tier deck. It is a, like, if you watch my tier list on Friday, as of this recording, Move Bounce is an A tier deck. Frigg is not just great and required in that, though. She's great and required in like 3 or 4 other decks, which means that she's got to be S tier. Gladiator's a nice B. It's Train Pass, sorry. It's a low B, but it's a B. It's big. It's a big 3. It, again, doesn't have an amazing home right now. It, with Fenris, is in that new Surfer deck. Outside of that, meh. Alright, our best A tier card so far is going to be Goliath. I think Goliath is incredible. Like, ongoing decks and Thanos decks. She's just amazing. Absolutely amazing card. I don't know what else to say. Like, for a month that had such bad cards, the buff to Captain Carter, Goliath existing, and the buff to Infinity Ultron, this ends up being, like, not a bad month at all. This got a lot of heat, but it's really good. Gorgon's a B. It's a nice, just a nice, simple, good card. Probably right around here, right around Darkhawk, maybe a little higher. But yeah, just a good card. Gorgon is really good. It's a Thanos meta. Whenever this type of meta shows up, Gorgon's a good card. Gore is a nice B tier card. Good in Hela, doesn't really otherwise exist. But you don't super need it for Hela. I think that makes it a B. Grandmaster is a B. What's Grandmaster in right now that really matters? What's Grandmaster in right now? Hang on. Is Grandmaster a B? Where does Grandmaster exist right now? Gore is great negative. That should push him up a couple spots. I always forget negative as a deck. Gore is going to actually go all the way a lot up because of negative. All but a requirement there. Not an actual requirement, but all but a requirement there. So Grandmaster's kind of gone, right? Like, there was the High Evolutionary deck that really liked him, but I'm back on, because of Agent Carter, I'm back on Man-Thing for that deck. Sorry, Captain Carter, I'm back on Man-Thing for that deck. Grandmaster is very good in Bullseye. I think Bullseye's enough to keep him in B, but now he's like at the bottom of B. Probably ahead of Gilgamesh, but not ahead of Darkhawk. Yeah. Thank you. You have a great Saturday, too. From here, we go to Gwenpool. I think Gwenpool's at the bottom of A. The Passler decks, and now being in the Cook decks that run Strange Supreme, I think is enough to push it up to an A. Yeah, I think Gwenpool ends up in the A range. That makes right sense to me. Kate's an A. She's just one of the best utility cards in the game. I think she's near the top of A. Everyone sleeps on Kate Bishop. I think she's like... I think the brilliance of her design is that people don't complain about her even while she goes in like 70% of the meta decks. Whether it's the Seasoned Passler, whether it's a Strange Supreme deck, whether it's a Wiccan deck, like she just keeps finding homes. I have no idea what the song before was, sorry. Yeah, Kate is ridiculously versatile. High Evolutionary ends up in B because of the HX deck. That's it. The High Evolutionary itself decks don't exist at all. Like, they're just fundamentally nonsense, non-existent cards. But High Evolutionary does have one deck, and thus he fits. Monkey's okay. It's very bottom of B-ish. It's in some of the bounce decks, but not most. It's okay. It's got to be C. As much as I want it to be B, it's got to be C. It's just not quite good enough right now. Like, the better bounce decks aren't really even bothering with it. I don't know. I'm not super impressed with this card right now. Good, not great. Hope is a mid B. Again, I'm not sure Hope has many homes right now. Like, she's largely been cut from Surfer, which was her like last real home. Where else is Hope? Does Hope exist in anything meta? There's like occasional kitty decks. I don't know. She's just good. She's going to be good enough to stick around like Gladiator and Fenris, but she's not very common right now. I love Hope, but I just don't see her super use for her. Hydra Bob is a C. I just don't have a great home for him right now, and he's utterly replaceable with like 15 cards in every single deck. Kitty Galactidex. Yeah, Kitty Galactidex are okay. It's a B tier, right? It's a home for him, right? Like, it's a home that we care about, but that's the same Cannonball deck. That's that same deck, yes. That's from our friend Toxic Soul King. Infinity Ultron's hard to rate. I think I'm putting it in B. Largely on the back of Hela. I've got a couple other decent decks for him, but I think Hela is good enough to keep him in B tier, even if a little below Darkhawk, because at least Darkhawk has 2 decks. I don't know. It's not bad. I can easily see myself looking foolish for either having this high or this low, but it is really great in Hela. Thanks to Butt for getting Iron Lad back into the very bottom of B tier. It is now our lowest B tier card. It is in the ongoing deck right now. Instead of that, it sure is a card that doesn't exist. Yeah, I don't know. I have no super use for Iron. Iron Lad's really solid in that deck. Perfectly replaceable by like a Super Scroll. But that deck is good enough to get it at the bottom of B, at least to me. Iron Patriot is somewhere near the top of A. I do think the nerf hurt it. I do think because I hate the play pattern, I wish I had another nerf. But I think it's down from S fairly significantly. It's great, but it's no longer like defining how we have to build our early game curve. And what kept it an S for me was how it defined our early game curve. Jeff found a home, so I can put him into, I don't know, D-ish. He's not really great or important, but yay, Jeff. He can go with Doxy, or he can go with occasional Hope shit. I really wish, I mean, Jeff is probably fine, but I really wish Jeff was better. Joaquin Torres Falcon's a B tier card now. He's really good in the bounce decks right this minute. I'm going to need to see a little more of the bounce decks, but Doc Guapo has basically convinced me that if you're good enough with this card, you can win a lot of games of Snap. And the goal is to win a lot of games of Snap. So I think that Torres is going to end up in the B tier. I think he should also probably be a 2-3, but whatever. Kohori, and everyone yells at me about this because everyone... Okay, so Kohori is a problem we have. I thought Kohori would be great. Other people thought Kohori would be great. So when Kohori came out, and Kohori wasn't immediately obvious in any homes, everyone's like, Kohori's terrible. And the idea that Kohori's terrible took root. It's an inaccurate idea. Kohori's still really good. It's in a lot of good decks. Is it amazing? No, but I think it's still better than Infinity Ultron. I think it's still a very good card in a lot of very good decks. The best negative deck on Untapped right now still has Kang, so I think that's enough to keep it in D tier. But it's still a D tier card right now. Kang's, I think I'm more happy with Kang's existence than I have been in a very long time. Hello, Devilish. Congrats on finishing Snap Prentice, even if you picked the wrong person as your winner. From here, we go to our friend Khonshu. And Khonshu is very, very, very hard to rate. I don't know what the Toxic Soul King just sent the word dog to me. Khonshu is... Kang is not below F. It's good in one deck. It's somewhere in B, right? It's good in these decks, just not required. Good but not required seems to be bottom of B. Yeah, somewhere around Grandmaster I think is fine. Khonshu is good but not required in one deck. Hello. From there we go to Eitri. And Eitri is like a reasonably high... Actually, Eitri is pushing... Yeah, a reasonably high B. It's better than Beta Ray Bill. It's better than Ares. It's better than Adania. Around Dakin, it's got 2 very good homes. Maybe 3? 4? Alright. I mean... It's really solid in the Thanos decks that run Loki. It's really solid in anything that runs Agamotto. And it's really good in every type of Thor's deck, including the bounce one. Eitri's really good. I don't know what else to say. Like, it didn't immediately have a home, but it absolutely does now. Yeah. Flasher is a C tier card. It is okay in buff. Probably worse than Galactus and Black Swan. But like bottom of C, but it's fine. Laufey was pushing on A tier. I think the rise of Shadow King has pushed him down to B. Also, he and Man-Thing are fundamentally the same card, so somewhere around the middle of B, around Khonshu, seems right to me. I really, 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 really loved this card, but it's not there anymore. I like Laufey. Evo's too high, right? Evo's required for these decks, and the other card is not. Legion ends up in B tier. He's still very good, but not amazing. So I know people that would have Legion in like A or S. I get it, but he's just so easily replaced in a million decks. Speaking of B tier, Loki is B tier. He's good, but not required. Probably better than Gilgamesh, worse than Laufey. I think Loki decks are very good right now, but again, like, they're not important, they're not impactful, they're just there. Somewhere near the top of B goes Luna Snow, probably ahead of Agamotto, behind Eitri. Luna being really, really solid in Surfer and really, really solid for anything Infinity Ultron is very, very important for the game right now. Still chilling in S tier is Madam Web. Those Red Wing decks are super slept on, and Move and Bounce Move are both decks. Madam Web is is an S tier card. Akari is B tier. Again, we're somewhere around the middle of B here. Like this big clunk around the middle of B. Right around. Better than Loki, worse than Laufey. Free 4 power to 6 power if it gets Surfer. It is very nice. It's a really useful card to have if you want to play Surfer. If you don't want to play Surfer, you don't really need it, but it's good enough in Surfer that I think it's important. Malekith is also C right now. Does Malekith go anywhere, really? He's in the classic... I can't put these cards in C. They're probably low B, but Anti-Venom and Malekith are in one version of... in one version of discard of Affliction right now. Malekith has been completely cut from discard. It's not being run in Serra anymore. Like, they're in one of the versions of Affliction, and even then they're off in the cut now. How the mighty have fallen. Wherever Laufey is, Man-Thing is slightly better right now. I like Laufey better. Right now I think Man-Thing is better because Captain Carter is everywhere. You think Man-Thing is an A? I can move Man-Thing up. I'm not quite willing to go to an A, but I can move Man-Thing up to, like, ahead of Gorgon and ahead of Beta Ray. I can move it right to with Dakin then. But that makes sense to me. Right around Dakin makes sense to me. Maybe a little ahead of Dakin and Nagamoto. It's got a better meta home. Okay, right behind Luna. That makes sense to me. Toxic Soul King convinced me because he absolutely slams Thanos. Thanos does not like him, and Thanos is a ton of the meta. Marvel Boy is a B. Marvel Boy has some really good decks right now. I'm so happy to see Marvel Boy finally not being in Zoo. I think the Marvel Boy decks are probably right around the Makari level, so that's where we're going to go for that. Meek has to be B. It's not as important as Dakin in those decks, but it's very good. Those decks are still good enough, right ahead of Marvel Boy behind Lofty. I'm actually going to move Khonshu back a couple spots. I don't really care about the like minutia of one card specifically, you know what I mean? One or two cards specifically in their lane. Misery is probably in the A tier. Misery is a great card right now. It is in a ton of decks, as a ton of homes. I think Misery is very powerful and very useful. Probably right around Copycat and Corvus in terms of power level at the moment. Back up to S tier goes Mockingbird. Mockingbird is incredible right now. Thanos is incredible. And we have a whole bunch of various cook stuff that she's absolutely must have for. I think Mockingbird is one of the best cards in the game again. Moonstone has to be an A. Between Captain Carter and Mystique and all the other things it does, I think this is a fairly easy A, right? S. Moonstone goes into S. I think Moonstone is, I don't know. I don't know if there's many better cards than Moonstone to own right now. Again, we all said this was going to happen. The second Moonstone was out, and it was like kind of good with Victoria Hand, and then we were like, there's nothing else really. We're like, well, when more ongoings come out, this is going to break. More ongoings came out, here we are. Ms. Marvel, I'm fine putting in B, out of respect for that Sandman deck and the occasional Season Passler. Like, very bottom of B, but I'm fine putting it in B. Namora is C, and lucky to be there. It's just really, really hard to compete if you're only putting one card in the lane at this point in the game. But Namora is a C tier card. Where is Nico right now? Everything-ish? I'm fine putting Nico second in the B tier. She is almost everywhere right now, but she's not super required for anywhere right now. Nocturne chills with Jeff in D tier. Those are cards that we don't care about and don't matter in any way. Penny Parker has been seen in a couple decks because of her buff and is somewhere in C tier finally. Probably still the bottom of C tier, but hey, she finally made C tier. So that's a thing. She's got a couple homes that are worth knowing about. Phastos remains a C tier card. Toward the bottom, but again, remains a C tier card. It is good in versions of Surfer, and you need it if you want to play hand buff. It's also really solid in a few of the Misery Phoenix Force decks. They're never going to fix put Nocturne to 3-5. They don't want to have location control be well statted in Marvel Snap. They want you to have to pay a penalty to have location control in this game. They don't want it to be generically good. Phoenix Force, C tier. Sorry to our friend Jet. It's just not very good right now. We're going to put it ahead of Alive. It exists, but it's not great. Pixie, in deference to Ika, will be at the bottom of C tier. It's fine. I guess it's probably around Phastos in terms of quality. Proxima, C tier. Good for discard, but not super important. Probably, again, slightly below... probably around Diamondback's level. Really good, but not terribly important. It's fine. People say they wish Phoenix Force was better, but if Phoenix Force was better, the game stops being fun. Into S tier goes Red Guardian. Red Guardian is amazing right now. I think Red Guardian might have a shot at the best card in the game, because they just released a bunch of really powerful scalers and shit. Like, for Captain Carter and Strange Supreme alone, I think Red Guardian might be S tier. Right now, I have him above Galacta, but slightly below Captain Carter. Yeah, I don't see any argument for Nocturne being C. You should be playing other threes in your deck. Red Hulk is at the very bottom of B. It's fine. It's good in Clog. It's a good big card to own. It has homes. Glad you enjoy the music. There is no music, YouTube friends. YouTube would immediately demonetize me. Red Wing is a B, and everyone else is lower on Red Wing, but I don't really give a shit. This is my list. And so Red Wing is going right here with Aranya, near the top of B. Red Wing decks are great, and if I was being totally honest, I think Red Wing's probably A. I think Red Wing decks can compete with almost any deck in Marvel Snap, and people just don't own it and play it. Genuinely, honestly. But I will, in deference to trying to keep this somewhat objective, keep it in the middle of B with Aranya, but ahead of Ares. Those decks are great. Alright, hopefully we're ready for a nice controversy, because the very bottom of A tier, not even S tier, is Rocket and Groot. I just don't think the card is amazing anymore. That it moves keeps it on the list, but that it moves is all that keeps it on the list. It's so a lot of what really killed Rocket and Groot is the nerf to Iron Patriot, because both cards taking a nerf, it's no longer like this amazing play after Iron Patriot, which makes it way worse. I just don't think it's quite as good now, and I think Copycat is just straight up a better card at this exact moment. Like, I'd much rather have Copycat right now than I would have Rocket and Groot. Sage, however, is only not S because she's semi-replaceable, but she's near the top of A. Sage is incredible in about a million decks. So popular and so powerful in a lot of shells. Sam Wilson to a 2/2. It still goes in absolutely everything. I'm going to put it slightly below Captain Carter for now, but it's very close. I've always been the low man on Sam Wilson and his use. Sage is not just a game winner, Sage is a cube winner. When you win games with Sage, you tend to get a lot of extra cubes, which I think has to value. Juggernaut often replaces Sage, not Wolfsbane. Sasquatch is in some decent bounce decks and the Cook, so I think it has to be near the top of B. I think we're going to go right below the King Eitri right now for this card. So right below King, it's above King Eitri. Right below Gore for Sasquatch. Sasquatch is suddenly a very solid card. Somewhere in D tier goes Scarlet Spider. Even hand buff decks don't want him, so I don't know what the hell we're supposed to do with him. The timing of this card is just too awkward. Somewhere at the very bottom of A tier goes Scorn. Both discard lists need her. What holds Bullseye back is its one list. Both discard lists really want Scorn. Probably below Rocket and Groot. Rocket and Groot's probably also above that. But yeah, I think Scorn is an A tier card, if barely. Scream remains S tier. Scream is one of the best cards in the game. You can pry her from my cold dead hands. Nothing else scales at 4/4. I could see Scarlet Spider being a 3/3. The problem is, how many tools can you really give Surfer? Yeah, I don't think we need to give Surfer more tools is the real problem here. So, yep, Scream is amazing. It's an S tier card. I still have it as the top of S tier as of everything we talked about so far. Carter might be better, but I need more than 2 or 3 days of data to say so. Shaw is chilling in the D tier. Probably top of D tier, but like, if even Surfer decks aren't, not even the top of D tier. If even Surfer decks aren't running you Surfer card, you're not very good right now. I mean, it's 1 power and she scales at rate of 4. Cersei is C, high C. It's a fine card. You're happy to own it, but I don't think it's very good. Silver Sable is probably bottom of B. It's really good in bounce, and it's okay in affliction, so it's probably at the bottom of B. It's good enough to rate a B. Got to be ahead of at least Marvel and Red Hulk for the time being. There we go to Scar, and Scar is in one deck where it's probably better than Ares, right? Like, it's better than Ares in that list, and we have Ares reasonably high, so it's going to be right here with Dakin. Probably a little bit ahead of Dakin too, because it doesn't feel a little bit behind Dakin. It doesn't feel super required, and it's not as good. Yeah, Cuddy's amazing. Next up, Speed. We got the need for Speed. Speed is going to be a B tier card. It's got a very good home in Thanos, but it's very replaceable in that very good home in Thanos. Somewhere around Gorgon. Starbrand, 1 deck, necessary for 1 deck. It goes where the hell is Ares? it goes slightly ahead of Ares. That's we're gonna put Beta Ray Bill to split them, because I think Bill is slept on. Strain Supreme is, as of right now, at least in my opinion, an A tier card. I think I'm comfortable putting it at the top of A. I don't think I'm comfortable putting it into S tier yet. I don't know if it's probably better than that now. I think it's in A and it has the potential to be an S. I'm just not sold on the longevity of its decks yet. I'm going to need to see a little more on that. Like, Carter taking so much of its cookies is really a hit. Supergiant's a C tier card. It's a fine card that's not really super important. A little better than Isan, I think. Surtur chills in D tier. They finally murdered this card. I don't even like it in the deck it goes in. I guess it has to be C because it does go in that deck. But like, I don't even in the deck it goes in, I think it's the worst card in that deck, period. Symbiote Spider-Man sits with Galactus because that's the only place you really use them. Thunderbolt Ross fails at failing right now. It just, why would you play that card? Thanos is the top of S tier. Probably the best card in Snap right now. I think it's done enough to dethrone Scream. That it's got two different builds right now while Scream's got a couple of different builds, I think is enough to put Thanos at the top of the game. I think Thanos is the best. First Ghost Rider, despite its power, is still F tier. Probably top of F tier, but F tier. Tribunal is somewhere in D tier, right around here. It at least exists somewhat. These cards don't matter. Let's not waste a bunch of time talking about them. They're fairly irrelevant in terms of Marvel Snap. Yes, this tier list is into the current meta. I think analyzing things in context is far more important than analyzing them in the abstract, because what you want to do with cards is you want to play them in the game of Marvel Snap, right? If I had like some abstract power level, we could be, right, like negative is S tier and the best thing, but like it's not, because you have to play it in a game of Marvel Snap, and so it's like it's a low A to high B tier card. Athena starting to see more homes and still amazing in the same deck that Agent Venom is. Probably right around Agamotto. I think Athena is in a very, very good place right now. I know, Space, that's why I make new tier lists all the time. Toxin is super important right now because it's in bounce move and bounces semi back. I'm telling you, bounces semi back, get it through your head, because these decks will be around if people take my advice and play them, because they should be. They are more than good enough. I think that right around Kahori, yeah, a little lower than Kahori is the right place for Toxin. One version of Scream is enough to get Ben into C, but not higher, I think. Even if that is my preferred version of Scream right now. So we're going to say high C. Well, not every week. Once every 2-3 weeks. Space, somewhere in C. Sorry, Space. US Agent, somewhere in C. It's been cut from most of its decks. Again, even the Ajax decks aren't really running it. Even the, I lost the name of this card. Even the Ajax decks and even the, Havoc decks have basically cut it, but it's still good, so I'm going to put it right below Hydra Bob. Valentina has had its cookies taken. It's somewhere in low C, somewhere around Pixie. Victoria Hand is probably, was A, but was hammered fairly hard by the release of Strange Supreme, and thus is going to end up in high B instead. Probably around Gore level. War Machine, sure, somewhere near middle C. It's not a very good card right now unless your name is Super Tech God. Middle of C being right below US Agent seems right to me. Werewolf is in bounce, or at least some versions of bounce, and is good. So Werewolf is going to find its way into the B tier right around Darkhawk. Probably better than Darkhawk, but right around Darkhawk in general. F tier card, bottom of F tier, White Widow doesn't exist. Wiccan is in A tier. It is still quite good. Probably bottom of A tier, barely hanging on, but still A tier. What's up, Splat? Splaticus is here. And then X23 for Destroy is necessary, but whatever. Middle A is fine for this card. Destroy is just not real. We're going to stick it right around... Like, Destroy was real for a few days, but everyone's running Cosmo. It feels real bad when they play Cosmo, right? All right, this is the tier list. What we're going to do, dear YouTube viewer, is we're going to give our Twitch chat a couple minutes to ask questions. We're actually going to start at the bottom. We're going to do D and F first. Are there any D or F cards that people think should be higher or lower? As we wait a moment for the comments. I can also look up stats for anything anyone is curious about. D or F, chat. Any questions, comments, or concerns? So Shaw can't be higher because it doesn't go in Surfer decks. It goes in hand buff, but hand buff is like genuinely not very good. Most of the best Surfer decks in the game have completely cut Shaw. And if he's not in Surfer, then why does he matter? Meanwhile, Nocturne just doesn't exist. There's almost always a 3 you should be running that's not Nocturne in almost every deck right now. I mean, not within the tier. We're talking about higher or lower tier. Because, like, I don't really care. Zemo, sure, Zemo can go higher. But Zemo doesn't exist, is the problem. What deck does Zemo go in besides Mill? And when's the last time you saw Mill? Mill is like an S tier deck, right? Like, not S. A R tier deck. It's like as low as you can go. Tribunal stays in D because every once in a while someone plays him on ladder and steals some cubes. That's it. His rate ends up fairly okay. Honestly, it's mostly Crazy that ends up playing him on ladder, but it's still fine in ladder. Scarlet Spider is really bad in buff. And if she's not going to be good in buff, I don't see where we're using her. Doom 2099, I don't think is at all good right now. Maybe there's a Doom 2099 deck. All right, so some people are saying Scarlet Spider higher, some are saying Scarlet lower. I just don't see a real use for it. All right, we're now talking C tier. Let's do C tier. B tier we're going to have to take on its own, so let's just do C tier. Can someone does anyone want to argue that C tier should be higher? Yes, it is a 410. It is. So the problem with that Splaticus is that it's a 410 that has to be played on 4 or 5. And if you play it on 5, you're taking up your whole turn 5. So what it ends up being is a 510. You're almost never playing it on 4. And there's free 410s, right? That like don't cost you anything. Go look at Anti-Venom stats? I can look at Anti-Venom stats, sure. So what I want to look at is Anti-Venom stats and decks. So here's Anti-Venom. Anti-Venom, fine, right? It's a B tier card. They agree. A little slightly above average win rate, okay cube rate. But then we look at decks, right? It's still, I guess, hanging around this deck. This deck stats. Can I do since patch? It's an Affliction, and Affliction doesn't need it anymore. I can move it to B. I just think it's the bottom of B. I think they can be argued for B. Like, there's 3 decks that have been played. We can do top 50% if people prefer. Because at least that's people that are generally trying. Like, it's a fine card. That's the stats of a fine card. I don't know. I don't care. I'm fine putting it into B, but I think it's like the borderline. I like that 2-card combo a lot. It's just not what's meta right now. It doesn't have a home. So if you don't have Diamondback, does your game plan change really if you're running these decks? My logic for the Affliction cards being lower is there are like 6 of them and they're almost all completely interchangeable. We're not looking into the future. We're ranking things where they are. Maybe Anti-Venom's great in a week. Maybe it's not. I don't know what's going to happen in a week. We thought Fire Hair was going to completely warp the meta. It did not. Yeah. I think look, C does not mean bad. Get the American education system out of your head if you're American, and don't think C means bad. C means good, but not really necessary for the current meta. Not in any real current meta deck that's important. Cersei's really solid. We're going to play a Cersei deck later today. You'll see. Cersei's really solid. I could see it being lower within its tier, but not a tier lower. I don't really care about, again, the placement within its tier is very loose. C is basically buy if you really like it, not necessary, yeah. Buy if you want to play this deck and you think it would enhance it. What TCGs do I play other than Snap? Right now, nothing. Snap takes up basically all my free time. I work full-time, I have a family. I write an article every day, I release a video every day, and I stream like 5 days a week. I don't really have time for hobbies other than Snap right now in my life, so Snap is my only one. I have played Magic in the past. I played a lot of, it's not a TCG, but Storybook Brawl, and I played a lot of a Game of Thrones LCG. I don't see a single reason for US Agent to be a B right now. US Agent just isn't in good decks. Like, again, the Havoc deck cut it, and the Affliction decks mostly cut it. Yeah, Nomura could go into D, but like she's the very bottom of C. I think she's just good enough to hang on. It's fine. Like, I think she's a little better than Doom right now, but like not much. Alright, yell at me about B tier. Go. Yeah, it just got cut from all the surferless space. Merit and Heart both cut it, so it's gone. B tier, talks, conversations. Also, I like that A and C tier are about the same size, because that's what it should be. Thanks, Winter, appreciate it. B tier, any arguments? Have you played the Marvel Boy Strange Supreme deck? The Marvel Boy Strange Supreme deck is genuinely fantastic right now. And Fenris Wolf could be lower, but Fenris Wolf is now in one of the best Surfer decks in the game. So, hey Neil, what's up? Yeah, Conchu's a little high within its tier, but I don't, again, like, should anything be a tier higher or lower is basically what I'm asking. Ms. Marvel is here. Okay, let's slow down a little bit. Hang on one sec. Fenris Wolf is where it is because it's now got a home in Surfer. It's barely hanging on to the B tier, but its home in Surfer is enough to sneak it in there. I could easily, you know what, Fenris Wolf should probably be one tier lower. Even with that one home, that is one home. It's not like the other decks that run it really exist right now. As Hela gets better, it gets better too, though. I don't know. I'm okay putting it right around top of C. I want Antivenom to be top of C, so I'm going to put it in C. So Khonshu is here because it's in all the best Apocalypse discards right now. Ms. Marvel is here in respect to the Sandman deck. People stop playing it, but every time I run into it, that deck is still really good. That Sandman deck is still really good. I don't care. That's within the same tier now, Space. Why is Scar so high? Scar is so high because it goes in the Sauron deck. It goes in the Sauron Red Skull deck, and that's a real deck. Sauron is not a Series 4 or 5 card, Zenate.
Jumpy 2K6 just followed.
Scar is in B tier because it's a required card for a top tier deck, or a near top tier deck. I think that deck is probably a step below top tier, but like with Captain Carter, that's a natural Enchantress deck. I think Scar needs to be there. Okay. Marvel Boy can be lower in its tier. I'm not taking Marvel Boy out of this tier. I think that the Cook deck that runs Marvel Boy is potentially an A tier deck. MMM is a Series 3 card, so he does not make the list. Series 3 cards tend not to be here. Well, Butt gets mad at me all the time. That's fine. Athena is absolutely meta. Athena is absolutely in a meta deck right now. The meta deck is the Havoc deck. That deck requires Athena. Athena is one of the most important cards in it. It's very strong. We're also seeing the rise of old Anti-Venom Iron Man style lists, and Athena is in those too. X-23 is not meta, but she is the only high series card required for a destroy deck. Literally every single other card on that list that has to be there is Series 3 or lower, so she does get extra credit for that. Beta Ray Bill is in 3 really good decks right now. I think he's a very easy B. People just don't know the bounce deck yet. The bounce deck has not hit the meta yet. It hit rank 30 on the Infinite leaderboard the other day. We'll look at it later on stream, and it'll be in the video for Sunday. Strange Supreme is second card in A tier currently. We can start talking about A tier if y'all want. Hey, Brad. Any A and S tier thoughts? Because they're both small. A and S tier, fire away. No way. So, Good Machine and Hela both require Blink. I think Hela has a real shout as an tier 1, one of the best decks in the game. Corvus is now also in the regular discard list. Although I could see it, it's probably high. Yeah, it probably goes down to B. You're right. Corvus is just too high for one list, even if that list is very good. Blink at least 1.5 lists. I'm going to throw it right around here. You're right. I was too high on it. But it's still really, really good. Yeah, it's 1 power, and Scream scales at 4. Arisham's here, and Arisham gets a high rank much the same way X23 does, in that you can build a deck with it if you get it right away. So it does get Zenaid, who loves Starbrand, wants Starbrand higher. But you don't want to argue for Scar. Very strange. Should Starbrand and Scar reverse? I'm fine with that. Rocket and Groot should not be lower than A. I think I'm already being fairly controversial not having it in S. Starbrand enables more decks? Okay, sure. You're the expert on that. I'll take it. That's right there. And then at that point, we can shove Starbrand down here. Sure, Arisham as a card is D, but his RNG is S. Sounds fine to me. Blink is in the Hela deck, and Blink is in the Good Machine deck. That's 2 really good decks. I think there's very little reason not to have Blink in A tier from those. She could probably go down a spot. Like Cassandra's probably better, but yeah. Okay. I think that deck only works for you, Zen. A Good Machine deck is a Husky Puppies deck that runs War Machine and Infinite, and it needs Blink as a way to sort of cheat things out. It runs Luna or Hope along with Electro, War Machine, and Infinite. Yes, I think Blink is required in Hela, or it's close enough to required in Hela. Like, I wouldn't play that list at all without Blink. Darkhawk is very good. I don't think it's an A. No arguments about S. We're happy with my S tier. All right, we're going to do this for about 3 more minutes, and then we're going to end the video portion of today's show, and we're going to do a giveaway. We all good? I don't think Gore is A. So the problem with Gore being A is there's a very heavy ongoing presence in the meta right now, and when you hit those ongoing games, Gore is very feel bad. Victoria Hand, you mean? Where is Victoria Hand? She's somewhere near the top of B. She's somewhere in the middle of B tier. A lot of her property, yeah, she's like 4th in B tier. A lot of her property was taken up by Strange Supreme. We'll see if she comes back later. You think Makari is A tier? Because I don't really care. Yeah, I don't really care. As long as it's B tier, I'm happy. The placement within rank is loose, and I'm not putting a ton of thought into it. I just want to make sure I have the tiers. I'm relatively comfortable with the tiers. The Bullseye deck is on the downturn. I don't even have it in my top, like, 15 decks right now. It's like it's technically not true. It's like 14 of my top 15 decks right now.
Veg Voice is just followed.
Strange Supreme is number 2 in the A tier. Moonstone right now, if you can't see it, is the middle of S tier. Kahori is somewhere in the middle of B tier. Eitri is so high because he has like 4 decks he's great in. He is the reason Loki decks exist. He is the reason Thor's deck exists, and he is very good in Thanos, even if he's mostly been cut. He's probably a little high, but he's also Series 4, and it's hard for me to not give extra credit for really, really good Series 4s. Also, where the fuck is Ravonna? Did we forget Ravonna? Ravonna is apparently not on my list for some reason, but Ravonna would be in A tier. Sage could be higher. Sage could be higher. Into S? I'm less sure. I really don't want to go into a second row for S. So if I'm putting something else in S, something's coming out. I don't think Sage is better than anything in S right now. I don't right now. I don't think Sage is better than Goliath. I think Goliath makes those Thanos and ongoing decks exist. I'm not sure if they do without him. And plenty of Sage decks exist just fine without Sage, even if she's best in slot for them. Maybe the bounce decks need her, but I'm not sure of the rest.
Mirth 918 just followed.
Yeah, so I think Goliath is like just top notch. In this current meta, with Scream, Captain Carter, Sam Wilson, Goliath, and Strange Supreme everywhere, I think Red Guardian has almost never been better. This is about as good as Red Guardian has ever been. Oh, Rocket and Groot, my bad. Rocket and Groot is C tier? No, I think Rocket and Groot's fine where it is. I can see Rocket Root going down to B, but I'm fine with it being an A. Again, people are either going to have it S or like terrible. I think it's still really good. It's near the bottom of, the very bottom of any tier to me could go in the tier below, right? Like I could easily see it in B. I just don't think it's C. It's still good in Surfer. It still offers you a lot of control over where your opponents play cards. The Iron Patriot change really hurts it. This is series 4 and 5 cards, yes. Yeah. All right, that's going to be the end of this portion of the stream, everybody. We all good? We're all happy? Let me go over and end the recording portion of this. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/snapjudgments. And if you'd like to participate, twitch.tv/pulseglazer. We do this every 2 or 3 weeks. Make sure we keep up to date on the tier list.